Ladies and gentlemen, hello from my office at Los Angeles City College. I'm here in my office Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. If you would like to have a conference with me when I'm in town at LACC, it's best to make an appointment. I have availability usually at some time on Tuesday. Depending on what meeting I have to make. I'm pretty flexible on Tuesdays. Mondays, I'm available usually after 1 o'clock, 1 to 2, depending on whether I have a meeting or not. So if you do want to come in to discuss issues with me regarding the course, and you want to meet with me in my office, please go ahead and message me and set up an appointment. Trying to drop in usually just doesn't work because I have so many obligations at the college to take care of in the 3 days that I am on campus. Otherwise, you see me at home in Palm Springs, teaching from there. So that's what that's all about. Now, regarding the course, with our next deadline being Friday, what day is Friday? I guess it's February 21st at 11:59 p.m. with a grace period until 3 a.m. I have changed the obligation of the deadline just a bit. No longer do I close everything at 3 a.m. It's still left open. Some of the assignments are still left open. For various reasons, I've decided to do that, but you still need to meet the deadlines. If you submit assignments past the deadline, there will be an extreme penalty. So usually if an assignment is to be awarded 60 points, the penalty will be 30 points off of that plus whatever else you get. That's a problem. So you really, you get some points for continuing with the assignment. So it's really important that you meet the deadline. Again, deadlines are the most important aspect of this class. Getting your work done on time. You will find that when you're in the real world, in the workplace, it's also about deadlines. Many of you are in the real world, in the workplace, and I think you have found that out. Now, with regard to grades, if you submit a paper that is going to be given a letter grade, then if you submit it past the deadline, then automatically the letter grade for that paper will be reduced 1 letter grade. So we also don't want that to happen. Okay, I know. I hate to be Mr. Downer today. Well, on a more positive note, coursework for Friday. First, I'm giving you a lecture on the reading process heuristic. I explain what a heuristic is in case you don't know. And I talk about the reading process heuristic, and I do provide some notes for that. So you really do want to look at the notes before you play the lecture, the video of the lecture. And then after that, I want you to read chapter 1 in our so-called textbook. I call it so-called textbook because you didn't have to buy the textbook. So chapter 1 is online. So I want you to read that. And I tell you how to do it using the reading process. And I really want you to follow the reading process heuristic as I describe it in the video lecture. That's important. This is a method for reading difficult college material. We have a lot of college material. Some of it is more difficult than others. I'm not talking just about this class, but I'm talking about a lot of other classes that you will be taking. So we need some kind of strategy to work with our college reading materials. And so I explain how to do that, and then I want you to read chapter 1 following that strategy, that method. Now, in order to do this correctly, you really need to print out chapter 1. I know if you can print it from your printer, then it doesn't cost much. You don't want to have to go print it where you have to pay 10 cents a page. Then it costs quite a bit, so don't do that. And you don't have to buy your textbook. I told you you didn't have to buy this textbook. I'm providing the materials for you. For the most part, all of your readings. The only thing that I don't provide for you is the Laramie Project and the Road. And you can use an ebook, although I prefer written copies so that we can write in them. And or you can check out a book from the library, although you can't really write in those unless you do it in pencil and then erase it afterwards. So probably best to have your own personal copies of the Laramie Project and The Road, which are in our college bookstore. The Stamford book, Then and Now, I think the bookstore only has a couple of copies, and that's the one that you really don't have to buy. But I would like you to print out chapter 1. When we get to chapter 2, which is going to be about the writing process, probably I would like you to print that too. And after that, it's up to you whether you print out the materials, but it's probably a good idea because just reading something online and trying to identify what is important and remember stuff is really difficult if you can't really interact with the text with a pen or a pencil. So that's why I say print this stuff out that I provide for you. But you can also buy the book online for about $5 or $6, I think. Don't pay more than that. Then after you have listened to my video lecture and you've read chapter 1, oh, by the way, another point about chapter 1, there are a couple of articles about tattoos and other things in chapter 1. You can just skim through those. What's important is, well, you'll see what's important. The material that talks about critical reading, and you'll sort of get that. I'm not going to explain the chapter is about critical reading, and there's, I think, 4 things you need to remember, and you need to understand and remember about critical reading. So that's really what you need to focus on. And once you have finished reading chapter 1 and working with it in the way I've asked you to, then you've got 2 quizzes to take over this material. One quiz is a quick 10-minute quiz, multiple choice. If you've worked with the material carefully, you don't really have to study very much for that. And the second quiz is a 90-minute quiz. Quiz, where there are 6 questions, and you will have to write responses to each of the 6 questions, and you're going to be given 15 minutes to write each response. I'm sort of trying to build in some time so that you can refresh your memory by going back into the reading if you need to, look at some notes and etc. So it's an open book quiz. Well, all of our quizzes and tests are open book. But remember, they are also timed, so you just can't think that you're going to have enough time to find everything in the book. So before you take a multiple choice quiz or these short answer essay quizzes, you really need to be as familiar with the material as you can so that you can just quickly zip into the text, find what you need that is, going to jog your memory so that you can write a really great written response or answer one of the multiple choice questions. And that's it for Friday. You won't be given the quiz. You can't take the 2 quizzes until Friday. I don't want you to rush it. The quizzes will not even appear in the website until Friday. So they won't open. I guess they're there, but they will not open until Friday. So that means if you're going to do well on these quizzes, you need to really work with chapter 1 today, Tuesday, tomorrow. Today's Wednesday. Tomorrow, Thursday, maybe most of Friday, so that maybe you take the quizzes before 3 a.m. on Saturday. Is there something else I need to tell you? Probably. Eventually I'll get around to telling you everything I need to. So with that, I will continue to see you online.